Hello, hello. Welcome to Daydreaming and Goal Setting, or Goal Setting and Daydreaming. This is session 2 of the 21-day Dare to Dream challenge. And I'm so excited that we get to hang out for this micro training today, where we are going to be focusing in all on goal setting and daydreaming. Now, let's catch up on where we were before so that we can then dive into today's training. So last time we were talking all about what you have done so far this year and how these actions that you have taken have created the habits that you experience in your life, which are creating your life. So we dived into what these might be, and you had some homework. And now today we are taking them on the next step. Before we jump into the training today, I just want to say, for anybody who is new in my world, let me know in the comments if this is the first time that you have hung out with me on a training in a challenge before, or if we've hung out before somewhere else. Let me know. I would love to hear. And I love hearing whether it was online, whether it was in person, and also what we were talking about at the time, because I have been running my business Success by Design training for 10 years this year. So during that time, I've met many people around the world, online, in person, have talked about many different things, including the 888 formula, including my book, Time Management for Entrepreneurs and Professionals. We've talked about goal setting this year, especially we've talked about imposter syndrome and how each of these things block you from creating the life that you want to be living. So the intention of this challenge is really to help you focus in on, we're coming to the end of a year. Now, depending on when you're watching this, we're coming to the end of a year. We're on the cusp of a new year. And this is an exercise that you can do at the end of a year. You can also do it at the end of a week, at the end of a month, at the end of a quarter. Equally, you can do it at the end of your day. Because it was Einstein who said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to get a different result. So if you don't really fully know what you're doing, why you're doing it, then you are not going to be able to create the life that you want to be living. And so today we're talking all about goal setting and daydreaming. But in order to be able to realize these into your life experience, aka manifest them, you really need to understand what is running underneath everything, if you like. So there is a river running throughout our lives, but sometimes underneath the surface, there might be objects that are going to stop your boat from going down the river, that you just hit them. So these are things, icebergs maybe. Now we've gone from a river to the polar ice caps. But you will have to forgive me when I speak in lots of different analogies. And I think it's just one of my teaching styles, is that I like to learn in multiple different ways. I am a neurodiverse learner, and maybe that is also you. So I tell lots of different stories and use lots of different analogies to help make the point, to help explain things. So as I was saying, last time we were talking about the actions that you have taken this year. So the homework for that session was to review your year, to look at what has actually happened in your year, what were your goals and intentions for it. The second part of that homework was to look at whether you were happy with what actually happened. And then the third part was that, knowing what you know now, what will you do differently? So I was advising you to look at your calendar, to look at your photo reel, to check your emails for clues, to go through this year month by month by month. so that you can start to build up a pattern. It's almost like, in order to create the life, the career, the business, the relationship that you want, you have to become the detective of what you're doing day in, day out. So, not to make it too complicated, but there's things that you're doing, I'm doing, we're all doing, that are sabotaging without us fully even realizing, because they are in our subconscious. So, what we're consciously aware of, we can see. What we're subconsciously unaware of is actually impacting and affecting the results and the experience that we have. So, the second part of that homework was to look at 8 things that you are grateful for. An attitude of gratitude raises your vibration. And when you raise your vibration, you are in a place to attract more of what you're grateful for. Because maybe you're aware of this word manifesting, maybe you've done some training, maybe you've watched some things, maybe we've talked about it before in previous trainings. But what people don't fully realize is you, me, we are manifesting all day, every day. The things you have right now that you don't necessarily want, you have manifested by your attention to them. So, moving into our session today, goal setting and daydreaming. This is where you can start to actively manifest and create the life that you want. So there's 3 things I'm going to talk to you about, and these are going to be your homework questions. So if you've got a notepad and pen, write them down. So the first question is, what do you go to bed dreaming about? So as you're falling asleep, what are you wanting, wishing, thinking, hoping, praying for? What do you want? What do you wake up thinking about? What's the first thought in your head? Would you like to be in a different country? Would you like to be going to a different job? Would you like to have a different bank account? Would you like to have a different body? What is it that you wake up thinking about? And notice there that I was saying it in a positive way. So, our next session, we're going to be talking about what stops us from achieving what it is that we want. And it's how we tell ourselves, how we talk about it. So, the stories that we're telling then become the hurdles. So, that's our next session, stories and hurdles, how to actually then bring it in to our lives. So I've broken this training down into 4 parts. We could have this conversation as one whole, but the thing in life is knowledge isn't actually power. So we've been told over the years that knowledge is power, but it's not. Information is just data. Your life is only going to change when you use the data, when you take an action. So you have the certificate. Congratulations. What now? I remember when I first started my first ever job, I had a conversation with one of my colleagues, and I was talking about my hopes, dreams, and aspirations for this job role, what I felt I could bring to it. And their view was, just because I had a degree, just because I was there, just because I had these ideas, I actually needed to learn. I needed to, as one of my mentors calls it, put the rubber to the road and start to see what happens versus coming in with big, bright ideas. And that's not to say ideas aren't great. And that's not to say that the perspective you don't bring isn't amazing. But it's one of the habits of the highly effective people by Stephen Covey, one of my all-time favorite books. Seek first to understand, then be understood. I think in life, it is super, super important that we understand why things are being done, how they're done, before we then change them. So in our lives, to bring this back to us, this conversation right here, right now, what are we doing? and what result is that getting? But what do we actually really want? So life can distract us, life can confuse us, but the reality is that we actually know what it is that we want. There's stories that come up that stop us from having it, but we actually really know. So let me look up my notes to keep us on track. So last time we talked about what do you want? Why do you want it? Today, I'd like you to think about who else has it and how would it make you feel to actually have it? And these questions can help you if you're in a place of, I don't really have full clarity on what my goals are. So if you and I were sitting down, we were having a conversation, and I said to you, what goals do you want to focus on next year? I kind of know, but I don't really know. I would advise you then to look at what other people have and use this as an indicator for yourself of what you would like. And then think about how you believe having this is going to make you feel. So, at the time of recording this, we've just released our latest episode of the Time Management Podcast. And in this episode, it was a solo episode with you and me, and I was talking all about the addiction to next, the next thing. When I have this, I will feel this. When I do this, I will get this. When I achieve this, people will think I'm this. So the story that we're telling ourselves about why we think that we want it, what having it is going to bring for us. So I used to believe that having the next best handbag was going to mean that I had made it in my corporate career. In finance, this is one of the examples I give in the podcast. There was a hierarchy of handbags. It sounds kind of ridiculous. I'm not sure everybody was aware of this, but it was just something I was aware of, and a few people that I spent time with were aware of, that when you had this handbag, it meant this. When you had that handbag, it meant that. When you had the next handbag, it meant the next level. And for men, it was shoes, and it was also suits. So a suit from a certain place, a pair of shoes from a certain place meant that you were at this next level. And there was this phrase in life, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So who else has it? Use this as an indicator of, I see they've got it. I actually would like it. But then validate that decision with how you think it's going to make you feel. If you only want it because you believe it's going to make you look successful, you don't really want it. So let's reframe this then, because you already are amazing. You already are worthy. You already are successful. And in this episode, I was talking about how the things follow the feelings. So in order to manifest the goals, the dreams, the hopes, the things that you want, it's important to look at what you are feeling right here, right now. So what kind of goals would you like to set for yourself for 2024 and beyond? What would you like to have in your life right now? So here's some examples. Maybe you'd like a new job. Maybe you'd like a pay rise. Maybe you'd like a new home or a new relationship, or you would like something about your relationship to be improved. Maybe you'd like more travel. So if that's the case, where would you like to go? Maybe you would like to improve your health. Perhaps you, like me, set myself a goal at the start of the year that I wanted to feel strong. And I got this teacup at the start of the year, and it has reminded me throughout the entire year that the feeling I wanted from my exercise was to feel strong. For years, and maybe you're the same, it was about the aesthetic, how you looked, how good you looked in your clothes, what other people said, oh, you've lost weight, you look good. Now, for me, it's about how I feel. So when people say you look well, what are you doing? This is amazing. I've been seeing your journey. I already feel strong. So they don't validate my need to feel something. I already feel it. So in all of this, the conversation, we get the things that we want by looking at how we feel, and the feelings start with us. It starts with us believing I am already good enough. So then the additional things become the icing on the cake, cherry on top of the cake, not that I need this in order to feel validated. Maybe if you run a business, you might want more clients. One of the goals that I've got is we're running the Success by Design 3-month program that starts on the 1st of January. And I would like 33 people in this program. So this is one of my goals. I have this on the mirror. I can see the people in the program. I can feel the people in the program. I can visualize the messages that they're writing in the group about the achievements that they have been able to realize from the daily steps they have taken towards the goals that they are manifesting into their lives. Perhaps you might want some new clothes, maybe you want some new shoes. What would that look like? What type of clothes? Do you want winter clothes? Do you want summer clothes? Do you want party clothes? What kind of clothes would you like? Maybe what you would like to focus on, the goals you would like to set, is some hobbies. One of the things that I realized a few years back was that I actually didn't have any hobbies, and that running my business and doing the trainings and learning the things and meeting the people wasn't actually a hobby. But that when I spoke to other people, they saw exercising as a hobby. So maybe you want to have more hobbies next year, but really getting clarity about what that looks like, what that feels like, what that actually means in your life. And as you're writing this list, I would just suggest that you write it like a giant long list. Observe what comes up when you write the things down, because this is what we're going to talk about in our next session when we start looking at the storytelling and the hurdles that stop us from achieving what it is that we want. So just keep writing the things down, but maybe make a note, maybe divide your page into 2 columns, and maybe just make a note of the things that come up for you, the words that you're saying to yourself. People like me can't, it's not the right time, I don't have the finances for this, it's the wrong season, I'm not ready, I'm not qualified. Just write all those things down, and we will talk about those next time. Maybe it's that one of your goals that you have is that you would like to get a cleaner next year. Maybe you've got to the stage where you actually want more time for your friends, for your family, for your hobbies, for your exercise, and getting a cleaner would actually give you that. Just write it down on this list. Don't judge it. Maybe you'd like a new team member in your business. I know for sure that I am manifesting somebody to do the social media for me. I can do social media, but it's not necessarily my skill set. I would like to spend more time in 2024 on stages, at events, out in the world, meeting people, sharing training like this, talking about the 888 formula, and having somebody else document that for me. Maybe, and again, this is another one for me, so maybe this is for me, maybe not for you. I would actually like to have a monthly spa break. I just would like to go to different spas around the country, around the world, and just enjoy, because why not? And so then what else? So use this as just a really, I called this session goal setting and daydreaming. Just daydream what it is that you want, because what you're dreaming about when you're going to bed, it's what you'd like in your life, what you wake up thinking about, what else pops into your head all day long. What's that thought? What are those? I mean, our minds do not stop. Well, maybe yours does, mine doesn't. So I am forever writing things down. And I find, and here's my top tip for manifesting, when I get it out of my head and I write it on a piece of paper, it's like magic. I would say 99% of the things that I write down manifest within a day, a week, a month, a year, 2 years, because everything comes when we're in the energy and the vibration to receive it. What I mean by this is you will meet so many people who would say, "Oh, I'd love to win the lottery. I'd love to win the lottery." And then when you ask them, what would you actually do with all of that money? I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, I go here, I go there. And then what? So there's lots of things that we want in life, and we might want it right here, right now, but we're not really, truly, clearly sure about what that actually could mean for the future. It's just the things. So you want to buy some more stuff, you want to pay off some things, you want to do this or that or the other. Dream bigger. So this is called the Dare to Dream Challenge. Dream bigger. What could that money be multiplied to create? What business would you like to start? What country would you like to live in? What home would you like to build? Just dream, dream, dream. And if this is our first time hanging out, you probably are not aware of my story and so what motivates me. You might have seen some of my social media posts where I talk about it's your time. And the reason that I do the work that I do right now, having told you I've been doing this for 10 years, prior to this, I worked in a corporate job or multiple corporate jobs in finance for over 10 years. It was only a life-changing wake-up call on a business trip that caused me to flick a switch in my head and realize fundamentally we're all going out of the same exit. There is no do-over. There is no get to the end of your life, oh, I want to do it again. There is only what we are doing day by day, step by step, right here, right now. Whether it's perfect, whether we're ready, the only thing that we can actually control and we can actually do is our ability to take the steps in spite of the stories, in spite of the fear, in spite of all of the things that we tell ourselves are stopping us. And so this is what we're going to really deep dive into next time. So as we wrap up this conversation, I would love to invite you to really think about what your life would look like when the things that you want to manifest, to bring into your life, whatever word works for you, what would your life look like? How would you be feeling on a daily basis? What would it smell like? This is a really weird one, but would it smell like coffee? Would it smell like the sea? Would it smell like cinnamon donuts? Would it smell like, I don't know, fresh air? Would it smell like a forest? What would your life that you are creating, that you are building, what would it smell like? What would it taste like? Would it taste like this coffee? Would it taste like cinnamon? I'm saying cinnamon because I actually really like cinnamon. Would it taste like, I don't know, fill in the blank, whatever you love? What would it sound like? Would you hear a city? Would you hear birds? Would you hear trees? Would you hear the sea? Where are you? What does life look like when you have achieved these goals? Because if you can put yourself into that future, then it's about walking it out and enjoying the journey. Now, if you're not a visual person and you struggle with seeing what this future life could look like, really then go into feel what this future could look like. Would it feel safe? Would it feel secure? Would it feel exciting? What emotion comes up when you think about it? Or what multiple emotions? Would you feel jubilant? It's quite interesting. A while back, I was doing some work with a coach, and we were talking about emotions, and they asked me to name some emotions. And at that time, the only emotions I could come up with were happy, sad, excited, and scared. And we've talked in trainings before that there was a whole wave, if you like, of time where emotions were weakness and nobody talked about it. But the reality is, the emotion is what helps you to bring into your life what it is that you want. And if you're not emotionally connected to it in any way, shape, or form, it's going to be almost impossible. If you don't feel worthy of it, if you don't feel ready for it, it's going to be almost impossible for you to bring it into your life, which is why next week we're going to talk about the storytelling and the hurdles, and I'm going to give you some strategies for overcoming them. But we've already looked at one of them this week. So that is, divide your piece of paper into two. One is the list of the things that you would like to achieve. And then on the other side, write the things that are just coming up for you right here, right now, the blocks for why you don't believe somebody like you. It's not your time. It's not the right time. It's globally, politically, there's too much going on in the world. What stories come up when you write it down? Because these are your hurdles, and all of us have different hurdles, but because we all live in the same world, some of them are similar. So I'm so excited we got to hang out. We have talked about a lot, which is why I said I was breaking this training down into 4 conversations, because knowledge doesn't change your life, only the homework, the application, and looking into it. So the homework for this week: look at who else has what you want, and look at how it would make you feel to have what you want. Because these 2 answers are going to help move the conversation forward next week. Additionally, listen to the episode number 10 of the podcast, because I really believe that this whole addiction to the next, when I have this, then I will be like this, will help you to tune in to the blocks and help with next week's homework. It's been amazing to hang out. Make sure that you've signed up for this challenge. If you would like to get the homework emailed to you, you can also join the challenge group and share your breakthroughs in there and learn from other people what they're realizing. Because what I truly know, having done this work for 10 years, is that there's no isolated, it's only me, I'm the only one who feels like this. When you start to put yourself around other people, you will realize that lots of people feel the same as you. And that as we share, we give other people permission to share. And as we realize, we give other people the opportunity to recognize what the block was that was subconscious, but has now become conscious, because we can't change anything that's under the surface. It's only when we become aware of it, and self-awareness is the key to change. But we only become more aware by exploring, by investigating, and by delving that little bit deeper, which isn't always the best feeling in the world, because they call this the shadow work, where you're looking at what it is that's impacting. But if we don't look at ourselves and our own shadows and bring them into the light, nothing can change. And by bringing them into the light, they disintegrate. Because a bit of science here. When the sun is in its highest point, there are no shadows. So when you bring what's stopping you, what's concerning you, what's under the surface into the light, it disappears step by step, day by day. So make sure that you sign up for the challenge so that you can get the homework and join the group. As I said, if you're loving this training and really resonating and want to know how you can manifest your goals, your dreams in 2024, then make sure you check out our Success by Design 3-month program, which starts on the 1st of January. And there's currently an early bird pricing on it, so you can save £200 by signing up right now. And the pre-work for this starts on the 27th of December. So you know that weird week where nobody knows what day of the week it is. We are going to maximize our time, our opportunity, and we are going to get together in that week for 2 trainings, one on the 27th, one on the 28th. One, we are going to look at the wheel of life and audit your life. And then in the next training, we're going to deep dive more into this concept of goal setting. And you're going to identify 2 goals that you want to focus on in January. So by the end of January, you will have achieved the 2 goals. And then in February, 2 more, and in March, 2 more. So by the end of our 3 months together, you will have focused on 6 goals that you want to achieve in your life. So, my friend, it has been amazing to hang out with you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and updates in the comments. I love the smell of freshly mown grass and frankincense, sandalwood, and orange blossom. All smells that I love are smells that you are looking for in your life too. So amazing. So until next time, we are going to meet live on the 14th of December for our next training. If you're watching live or if you're watching on the replay, you can watch it whenever you want. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, it's your time.